English Snacks.
Hey friends, welcome back to English Snacks, the podcast where we bring you short, tasty bites of the English language. I'm Michael, here as always with the brilliant Kendra. Kendra, what did you do last weekend?
Okay, so I went to a little market near my house, one of those outdoor weekend markets where you only plan to look around for 20 minutes, and then somehow an hour passes and you have no idea what happened.
Oh, I know exactly that kind of market.
So I went in with absolutely no list, no plan, just curiosity. And I came out with a candle that smelled like a forest, which I did not need, a little ceramic bowl that I genuinely cannot explain, and a book in English about the history of tea that I bought because the cover was pretty and I was having a feeling.
Oh, you bought a book because the cover was pretty?
I bought it because the cover was pretty. I have no regrets. And then there was a food stall near the exit. A woman was making these fried dough things. I don't even know exactly what they were. Stuffed with something sweet, dusted with powdered sugar, still warm from the oil. I stood there and ate two of them immediately and thought, this is one of the best things I have ever put in my mouth.
That is a very specific kind of joy.
It really is. And then I walked home completely happy, slightly sticky from the powdered sugar, put my bags down and sat on the sofa, and about 40 minutes later, I suddenly remembered I had put something in the oven before I left and just walked out.
No.
Fortunately, it was fine. It was just roasted vegetables on very low heat. A little more roasted than intended, but fine.
A little more roasted than intended is a very polite way to say burnt.
They were not burnt. They were deeply caramelized, and I stand by them.
A full story. And did you notice what you just did?
I talked too much.
No. Well, maybe. But what I mean is you used 4 irregular verbs in about 3 sentences. Went, bought, ate, came. None of them follows the normal rules. None of them ends in ed, and you use them completely naturally without thinking about it.
Oh, I didn't I?
You did. And that is exactly where today's episode starts, because today we're asking a question that has bothered English learners and, honestly, English speakers too, for a very long time. Why do some English verbs go completely rogue in the past tense? Why is it went instead of goed? Why is it bought instead of buyed? Who made these rules? And is there actually a reason?
And the answer, I'm guessing, is going to be more interesting than someone just decided it.
So much more interesting, because the answer is nobody decided it. The answer is history. Very old, very messy, very human history. And that's our Did You Know moment for today.
Okay, I want the story. Give me the story.
All right. So, to understand why go becomes went, we need to go back about 1,000 years. Old English, the English spoken around the years 900 and 1000 AD, was a very different language from what we speak today. If you saw it written down, you probably wouldn't even recognize it as English. It more looked like German or Dutch.
Really? I would not have guessed that.
Yes, and in Old English there were 2 completely separate verbs that both meant something close to go. One was gone, which meant to go, to move forward, and the other was wend, which meant to travel, to wander, to make your way somewhere.
2 different verbs for essentially the same idea.
Right. Over time, and this happens a lot in language, people started using gone for the present tense. I go, you go, she goes, and wend started being used for the past. I went, she went, we went.
Wait, so went isn't even from the same word as go?
It is not. Went is the past tense of a completely different word that no longer exists. It got borrowed, recycled, absorbed into the verb to go when wend disappeared from everyday English, and nobody cleaned up after him.
That is genuinely one of the most surprising things I've heard about English. I have been saying went my entire life, and I had absolutely no idea it came from a different word.
Most people don't. And this phenomenon, where a verb borrows its past tense from a completely different word, has a name. It's called suppletion. Suppletion, when the different tenses of one verb actually come from completely different historical roots.
Suppletion? That sounds like something a doctor would say.
It does sound a bit medical, but it's a real linguistics term. And go went is the most famous example in English, though there are others. Be, was, were is another one. Be in the present, was in the past, completely different roots.
Oh, wow. I never thought about was being strange before, but now that you say it, why isn't it I beed?
Because was comes from an entirely different Old English word, wasen, which also meant to exist, to be. And again, two verbs merged into one over centuries and nobody swept up after them.
English is basically a house that has been renovated by about 40 different families and nobody ever threw anything away.
That is the most accurate description of English I have ever heard. Can I quote you on that?
Please do. Okay, but let's talk about the other irregular verbs too, because want is one thing, but there are so many of them. Bought, thought, brought, taught, caught, they all end in that same sound. Is that a pattern?
Yes, great observation. Those verbs, buy, think, bring, teach, catch, they all belong to the same Old English family. They were what linguists call strong verbs. In Old English, instead of adding ed to make the past tense, which is what we call a weak verb pattern, strong verbs changed their internal vowel sound. So you get buy, bought, think, thought, bring, brought.
So bought isn't random. It's a surviving pattern from a really old system.
Exactly. These verbs are old, really old. They come from before English even became English. And the reason they still sound irregular today is because the language changed around them, but they stayed the same, like ancient fossils still living inside modern English.
That is such a beautiful way to put it. Fossil verbs.
I love that. Let's use that. Okay, so we have two kinds of irregular verbs. The suppletion verbs, like go went, where the past tense comes from a completely different word, and the strong verbs, like buy, bought, where the vowel sound changes internally. And then there's a third category.
There's a third one?
There is. The verbs that just don't change at all. Same form in present and past.
Oh, like put.
Exactly. Put, cut, cut, let, hit, set. These verbs look identical in present and past, and learners often try to add ed to them. I putted the bag down, which is not correct. The past tense of put is just put.
How do you even know when to do that? Is there a way to tell which verbs stay the same?
For this category, it's mostly pattern recognition. A lot of them are short, one-syllable verbs that end in a t sound. Put, cut, hit, let, set, split, shut. Once you recognize the family, you start to feel it.
That's interesting, the T ending. So if a verb already ends in a T sound, there's a good chance the past tense looks the same.
That is a really solid observation and honestly a good rule of thumb. Not perfect. Sit becomes sat, not sit. But as a starting instinct, it works more often than not.
Okay, I want to go through the big ones now, because some of the most common verbs in English are irregular, and learners sometimes mix them up. Can we just run through them?
Absolutely. The 10 most common irregular verbs that come up in everyday conversation. I'll give the present and the simple past, and we'll both give a sentence. Listeners, say them with us.
Go, went. I went to the market on Saturday.
Buy, bought. She bought 3 things she didn't need.
Think, thought. He thought the meeting was on Tuesday, not Wednesday.
Come, came. They came home just as it started to rain.
Take, took. I took the wrong turning and ended up completely lost.
Make, made. We made dinner together and it actually turned out great.
Say, said. She said something so kind I didn't know how to respond.
Know, knew. I knew the answer, but I couldn't find the words.
See? Saw. We saw the most beautiful sunset from the rooftop.
Give, gave. He gave me advice I still think about.
10 verbs, all irregular, all completely essential. If you can use all 10 of those in the past tense without thinking, you are handling the backbone of English storytelling.
The backbone of storytelling. Because when you tell someone about your day, your week, your life, almost every sentence is in the past tense. Went, bought, thought, came, took. That's just a Tuesday.
Just a Tuesday. Okay, one more thing before we wrap up. How do you actually learn irregular verbs, not just stare at a list?
This is important. Most learners learn irregular verbs from a table. Present, past, past participle. 3 columns, 50 rows. Stare at it until your eyes blur. And it doesn't stick.
It doesn't, because a table has no story, no context.
Right. The most effective way is through stories, short personal stories that you write or say out loud, because your brain stores language in episodes, not columns. Last week I went to the shop, bought too much coffee, came home in the rain, and sat on the sofa for 4 hours. That one sentence uses 5 irregular verbs. And because it's a scene, a moment, your brain has somewhere to put them.
And it connects to something we always say on this podcast. Use the language in a real situation, even a made-up one, and it sticks in a way that a list never does.
Exactly. Okay, your challenge this week. In the comments, tell us about your last weekend. 3 to 4 sentences, all in the past tense. Use at least 4 irregular verbs from today's list. I went to, I bought, I thought, I saw. We want to read your mini story.
And honestly, this challenge is going to be fun to read because everyone had a different weekend. We're going to see so many little stories in the comments. I'm already looking forward to it.
Same. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and remember, every irregular verb in English is just a very old story. Take care, everyone.
Bye for now. See you in the next episode.